Oh, hey everyone, it's Ryan.
Hey, yo, it's Brandon. What's up?
So what we're gonna do is talk about the beloved and recently passed John Lewis.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you brought that up because I was thinking about this when I did my bid at the ward where I read this book. It was called The Red Army, and it was just basically this like anti-socialist propaganda thing. And they got to the different politicians in Congress who supported this socialist regime. And they got to John Lewis, and they basically, I guess, analyzed it from their voting record or whatnot. And what stuck out to me was the disrespect that he received in that book. Obviously, it was right-leaning. And they prefaced a very renowned and respected civil rights leader, John Lewis. Yeah. And then it was just a paragraph after paragraph of disrespect to this man because they felt that he supported this socialist regime. And so when he passed, I found out, I just thought about that, and I just thought about his legacy and all the work that he's done. And it really made me think about how it just doesn't matter. And it was there was a racial undertone to it.
Yeah.
Some of the verbiage that they used.
I'm sure.
I can't point out specifically because of copyright issues of the book, and it just made me think, like, damn, it doesn't matter how much you have done for the greater good of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck this country, but the world, and you know how accomplished you are, how educated, you know how well you played your cards. If you are a black man or a black person, but a black man in this example, you are still subject to such finite disrespect.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just made me think about that.
I don't know. Ever since I've been able to watch politics with my father, I've always seen him giving his view on something that affected my life specifically. It's almost like seeing like an OG's grandfather. You know what I mean? It's because like he's always from the things in Flint. He walked alongside Martin Luther King all the way up into the Mike Brown stuff in Ferguson. Although you know what I mean, like all across the board, he's been there. One of his favorite quotes that I like personally, like, it says, "You must be bold, brave, and courageous, and find a way to get in the way." And I think he lived his political agenda by those clauses. You know what I mean? He's like, as you said, he's like a tyrant to the opposition. Like that's not something he fought for. Up, always rocking the suit on CNN, on MSNBC, ready to say something in defense for us. You know what I mean? Always by us, always by the people, always highly respected. And my biggest condolences go out to him, and I want for his movement, his legacy to permeate throughout society. Usually a lot of our heroes get washed away in the pandemic, so to speak.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like maybe 10 years down the line. So it's going to be like, oh my God, did you hear about this old new guy called John Lewis? Like, no, it's that dude. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for him, a lot of stuff wouldn't have been passed, or at least been fought from his perspective. And we need someone in the game, and he was the person in the game. And it's only right we pay homage when he comes out the game.
Absolutely. I actually I think there needs to be a due diligence to him that we definitely teach about him in the schools that he's mentioned, because honestly, not a lot of people, of course, in school, no one mentioned him amongst so many other leaders they didn't mention, but even in college, no one really talked about how pioneering John Lewis was,
or pioneering for any black figure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information that's been taken away from us, and from the bombings, and I mean, I don't know how many times I bring that up or just say that in general, but that stuff like that has always been. Why is that not general information?
Right.
Like there's documentaries of information, I believe in Virginia, I think it's from 1898 or 1889, where there was an entire black community uprising type thing, and they told them to like get rid of the books, burn the books. They're not allowed to get these archived classic books. No one's allowed to get this information. I was like, why are you hiding? This is literally hiding this information from the general public. What is your endeavors? And I think we owe almost an apology for the future generations, because that he's going to get washed away. You know what I mean? You know that that's going to happen. It's going to be inevitable.
I so bad want that to not be the case.
Yeah.
So bad. And I just feel, I think this is where I struggle with in finding my identity and role and what, if this can even be, would you consider this a new era of civil rights
No,
that's happening?
I mean, it's a new date. It's a new time segment. But it's not something that we can see. We've seen county changes. Changed in this particular county. Did you hear that North Carolina passed?
That the reparations.
Right.
Yeah.
That happened in just that little, that state.
It's not, it's not that spread.
Yeah, it's not a global effort. You know, what happened during the original civil rights movement, that was 6 days. And we got the civil rights movement, like the, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. I don't know. That's, I agree. So I don't know where my role is.
But you want to be a teacher.
I did. I do. I think COVID has made me look at some things a little differently. I don't think it's safe for me to be in a school with my baby. With the way that they're thinking about carrying it out.
Yeah, because the CDC, right now, the government put a clause that they can't even talk about. He can't defend, the CDC director can't speak in court. It's a government mandate.
Right.
And school's right around the corner.
Right. So I just have to think about my child. But I would like to. But I don't know. When you said him being washed away with the future generation, I feel something in me is like, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. But I don't know how.
You got to do an encyclopedia.
I know. I was thinking about that. And that's a dope idea. And I really should, like, try to do something like that.
Yeah.
But I just struggle because, I don't know. I have so much passion. But in order to mobilize like John Lewis did and others, I don't know if I can do that. Like,
but you know your voice is strong enough.
I don't know. To be honest, can I be honest?
Got to be candid.
Candid, yeah, I'll be candid. I think going to BW in some ways helped that and then also stifled that, if that makes sense.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
When I came to BW, I had a huge reality check because...
Really?
Huge.
Wow.
I got to see how bureaucratic things are.
Yeah, how everything's politicized.
How everything's politicized. That's why I came in as a political science major, a political science broadcasting major. I could actually set up a whole like little thing if I had all the equipment off of that one class that I took. And that changed as soon as I got into student government.
Really?
Yeah, I hated it. And so it's kind of made me more confused about if my voice is strong enough because I do have so much passion and I would go on these. That's partly why why this podcast is so important to me. Because I would go on these rants on Snap and stuff and all that. And I just think that when I came to BW, I was like, yo, this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting against so much shit. Do
you think, well, I guess in light of what is passing, he always thought we should be able to congregate, and through power we can if we through our congregation we can create movement. You know what I mean? A drop of water wouldn't move a wave, but you know what I mean.
Right.
So would you say that it's like the lack of connection, or do you feel as if that there's a connection you can't grasp, or the climate is not open for you to even accept that type of assistance? Like how, like you know that you need a team.
Of course, yeah.
How will you, if you were to facilitate this, how would you go about it? Because it's clearly something that's on your mind. Like
it's on my mind, heavy.
You mean there's something a part of you that speaks to this? Yeah,
it actually, like when I'm applying for jobs and stuff, I'm thinking about it. Like I don't know if this is how I should be using my time when I have this. I'm so passionate about this, but my examples in being president of BSA for like a.
What's BSA?
Black Student Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Black Student Alliance. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. So much like a conversation. Yeah, Black Student Alliance on our campus.
Yeah.
And when I was president for maybe like a month or so, because I got pregnant, that whole idea of having a team was difficult.
Yeah.
Getting people to see the vision.
But it wasn't your team. It was
the board?
Yeah. The team was an amalgam of people that were voted independently. It wasn't you choosing your people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I had some say, but right, it was limited.
Right.
It was limited. I think that's where my maybe where the difficulty in seeing how to mobilize a team, because our whole purpose as the Black Student Alliance was to uplift, promote, move forward the Black community on campus, and that was so hard to do. And BW is small.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, I don't know if you know, there's a lot of like underlying reasons why.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember, BSA. It was I think it was a black dude who was like, "Yo, come through," and I was like, "All right, what's up with it?" And he was like, "Do you want to join?" And I was like, don't tell Bill or Bob, you know what I mean? And back then, my perspective was, what do you mean don't tell Bill or Bob? Bill, I live with Bill and Bob. Bob and Bill is my best friends. Bob Hefner is our thing. I never really vibed with that. You know, I was like, I get it now. But the idea of being in a environment that kind of isolated, I understand a lot more now why that was necessary.
Right.
In regards to who I was developing, at the time of developing, I needed not to be in that. I could do something about that. I could be a part of something that now, because I feel as if I have some type of stance where I can say certain things or speak on certain things.
Oh man, you would be.
I don't know. That's why I create this platform, because maybe there's an opportunity where I can touch someone without being able to see them. You know what I mean? That and that's kind of the point of what the BSA in my head was supposed to do. I was supposed to feel the BSA without me knowing of them. You know what I mean? I feel as if when I was introduced to college, it wasn't like that.
So you came a year before I did.
Yeah.
I felt it was the strongest when I came in, 2016.
Probably. It probably was big the next year.
It maybe, yeah. But then it deteriorated after.
Did your year create Black Girls Rock and like the parades and all that stuff?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I know that the old board, like I won't say names, but they were your class though. They came in with you.
Yeah.
And I felt it was the strongest, and I think I was trying to capture that.
Yeah.
And because I did not become president knowing that I was pregnant at the time. So as soon as I found out, I was trying to. Yeah, I had no clue.
How did you manage to just like? I'm still I'm so fathomed by how you're able, how absolutely your baby's beautiful and healthy. No type of college stress added to the.
That's the only way, because I think about that all the time too. I think that's why she's gonna be so spoiled, is because I have a lot of guilt, because I was stressed.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of stress on my body physically. Walking to class, I mean, I had to walk to Telford, then back to front, and then this and that. And then I also maintained, at the time, 2 of my leadership positions.
Hey, okay now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a job.
Okay.
There were a few times we had to go to the hospital because I didn't feel her for a few hours. Like her move, and so I was scared, but I was just dehydrated.
Wow.
So,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So if you're like, you constantly feel your baby while, like, I understand the baby's there.
Yeah.
So so you're as in tune, because people don't even feel people like their hand is on them. So if you're as in tuned to say that if the baby's not moving for a couple of hours. Wow.
They're supposed to move at least, what they say, at least 5 times within an hour, whether it's a kick or they shift or whatever. Something. You can feel everything.
Wow.
So, yeah, I didn't know that I would never do that to myself or my child or the board, but I tried my best to still, even though I was pregnant, and I did some good work. I found them a treasurer, a new president, all that. I was like, look, I'm gonna leave you guys in good hands. But I was trying to recapture what I had when I was a freshman, and it was difficult.
What do you mean recapture?
I just liked how organized it was. I like how united it was, and I liked that you could feel their presence. They really had a good, strong board, and the meetings were effective, the events were packed, and it just was great. And then as time went on, it just kind of deteriorated, and I kind of...
Yeah. One thing I always thought, coming from outside of Ohio, I always thought that, when I heard something black, I thought they were going to, like, do it to the nines. Like, you know, I wanted to see like a bunch of black people going out and like they were all gonna go to the food drive. Granted, there was an organization that my friend, myself, and Dante was a part of, and I forgot. I think it was called Hofstra, I believe. We were part of that. We're trying to facilitate that idea, but it didn't necessarily pan out the way we wanted to. But we really like. I would have wished that we had more of a stance, because now, I don't know if you've seen the Facebook page, the black BW. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that the BSA should have been known about. A lot of people in those relations should have spoken about. And I guess I'll get a preface what Black BW is about. It's a bunch of the minority students at BW, or people who just felt marginalized, just speaking on their experiences, and the multitude of people who have multiple experiences in there. And I would think that BSA would be in tight coordination with race relations. I don't know what the title is.
Right. That's what so before I found out I was pregnant, and I was going to carry out my senior year in that role, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to form a committee that handled that specifically, because read that page was like, yo, I mean, there's so many things that when you think, like, what I envisioned was, the one thing that always lacked was that, like, when there's a racial issue or something, like, I don't know if you remember when it was Finley. It's a dorm on campus. When someone said the N-word to one of the girls.
I remember. I was there. I put on the counter. I was there.
Oh, you were there.
I was downstairs, but I was. I was there.
They should be like, "Where's BSA at?" Because we need to speak. Yeah. They need to speak on this. They need to release a statement. They need to go to the A building and be like, administration building, and be like, "Yo, that's kind of what I wanted."
So how come you can't facilitate that now?
I could, but I think I put so much expectations on my time in college, and that my experience in that organization was so just. I mean, I told you I had beef with them. Remember? Yeah. Because of an email I sent over, just just please, do your job correctly. Right. And I think that, and then me actually being president and seeing how difficult it was to get people to actually do what they were supposed to do, I was like, well, if I can't do this at BW, how in the hell could I do this? But you're right, I didn't get to pick my team. Right. It was very limited.
So if the idea is not maybe in teaching the way you envisioned it, what would be what's your MO? Like, what's in the back of your head? I
guess when I did my time at the ward.
You gotta stop calling it that.
It's just so, in the ward, I really liked, I don't know. I liked mapping out like treatment plans. This one lady I talked to who was addicted to Percocets. Wow. She was having a hard time with her assigned social worker who was supposed to deal with her aftercare outside of the facility. And she was not satisfied, and it wasn't working with her. So I wrote down, I was like, hey, this is what we can do for you. Give this to your social worker. Just say this. Like, this is what I would like to see. I would like to talk to a pain specialist. I would like to do this different. And I really like that. And she seemed to like it. I left before I got to see any feedback on it. But
when you what you think was the nucleus.
That was me going, I'm kind of good at this. Like, and I just felt right being like, hey, that's not working. So we need to do this. So I don't know what that looks like. I think maybe teaching, I kind of was in the same vessel, because my thing was, we have these black students, these kids that you're not reaching. Let's do something different. Let's approach it differently. So I think I was in the same ballpark, but I don't know. I'm not 100% set on teaching now. I don't know. I think as more times I get more experiences and different things, that'll become more clear, but I really liked what I did at the facility.
Do you think it's mainly because of what we're seeing in regards to our environment and how the government, unfortunately, how politics is handling education?
Maybe. I think yeah. I think that's why I felt such a strong pull to it. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, the idea behind, and I guess you're probably like, how does this all tie in? The idea is that John Lewis also said, if you can help it, be in the schools, change from in the system. You know what I mean? Be the presence that you don't see. You know what I mean? And from there, you can facilitate forward on whatever you want to see. You know what I mean? So I'm allowing you to voice out your opinion, whether it be now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now. You can look back and see what you spoke on, why you spoke on it, and to see how you moved from there. And I think that representation may be on the back burner, but it created a roaring fire to the point where certain legislation would have been passed if it wasn't for him. If it wasn't for these type of conversations, if it was for people encouraging him to take that leap, to call upon people, to bring about people. So I know a lot of people was like, oh, just some old dude died, but it's kind of a lot bigger than that. You know what I mean?
It's way bigger than that.
It's a lot, and there's a lot of things that we don't know in the background that he had a heavy hand in. And I think,
for sure,
rightfully so, he deserves this time as a minimum, as an offering to what he's done.
Absolutely.
For me and my kids to walk forward.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.